You know, there are two things that I really enjoy: fighting games and anime. Am I particularly good at fighting games? This game did me so dirty, so now I know. I can't believe I lost to that. No, not really. But I enjoy them nonetheless, and I do enjoy a variety of anime, as we discussed both on the channel and in Discord and in some of my videos with reactions. But I was sitting up in bed and I was thinking, you know what? These animes deserve a fighting game. A good fighting game. So this is going to be my top 3 animes that I think deserve to have some type of refined fighting game in 2021 or, in 2022. Now, before we get started, I do realize that there are different types of fighting games, such as 2D fighters, 3D fighters, arena fighters, and your traditional anime fighters. I'm going to try and categorize those as I list off my top 3 into one of those segments. They may be a mix between the two depending on the anime that I chose, so just be aware of that moving forward if I mention that, oh, X anime deserves to be a 2D fighter. It can also be a 3D fighter depending on how you situate it, so I'll try to explain my reasoning as well as to why I put it into that category. Right, so at number 3, I would say Yu Yu Hakusho. This is kind of an easy choice because in the past there has been some fighting games. For those who actually played back on the PS2, there's Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament and then there's Yu Yu Hakusho Forever. Do not play Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament. If you ever listen to me on anything, listen to me on that. It is not a great fighting game. Go play Yu Yu Hakusho Forever if you want to actually play a Yu Yu Hakusho fighting game. Now, the reason I say that Yu Yu Hakusho deserves a new type of fighter is, for those who have watched the show, there's so many characters, so many unique techniques, stuff like that, to where it would be great to have a Marvel vs. Capcom-esque type fighter or a Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think that mechanic and the way those games are played fit perfectly with the style of Yu Yu Hakusho. And to give an example, I've actually kind of drafted up a character as sorts for Hiei, right? So his supers and some of his assists would be the Fist of the Mortal Flame, the 16 Jogging Slash, the Sword of the Darkness Flame, and of course the Dragon of the Darkness Flame. And the Dragon of the Darkness Flame should be a level 5 technique, right? You use 3 bars a meter, you go ahead and shoot out the dragon. You use 5 bars a meter, then you buff yourself up for about 15 to 20 seconds. You have increased damage, increased speed. Your techniques change, such as the Fist of the Mortal Flame actually looking like the Fist of the Darkness Flame and stuff like that. Just cool, unique techniques. Or if you buff yourself, you'll have access to the Sword of the Darkness Flame. Stuff like that. I think that would really work well with the character and how it would interact in the game itself too. So that's why I think Yu Yu Hakusho would make a good 3v3 fighter. Now, you can argue that instead of a 3v3 fighter, this also make a traditional good 2D fighter, which you can make the claim, and you can probably argue that as well. I think if you go ahead and look at the groundwork of Yu Yu Hakusho Forever, there is potential in a 2D fighter. However, the game is really slow, and I think with the fast-paced action of both the anime and of the 3v3 fighting style with the assist, the movement, and all that stuff, I think it would fit better well as a 3v3 either Fighter Z or a Marvel vs. Capcom type fighting game. So that's my reasoning for Yu Yu Hakusho. Honestly, I would hope to have that out of all the ones that I picked today, but we'll see. Right, so for my number 2 spot, this one actually surprised me a bit as I was thinking. Inuyasha. Now, if you've seen some of my streams, we've actually had some discussions or in Discord. I don't particularly like Inuyasha as like one of my favorite animes. I do respect it, and there are some good things about it after watching it again. There are some things I don't like about it. There are some things that kind of drag on. However, I think the series from start to finish, especially with the final act, it's a good watch, and if you haven't seen it, I do recommend you check it out. I think Inuyasha would make a good arena fighter. And what I mean by arena fighter is the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series type of fighter, where it's a nice open arena. You have your character in full 3D movement, dashing, stuff like that, charging, stuff like that. Just a fun arena fighting game. Not necessarily a competitive fighting game. I don't think that Inuyasha would hold its ground in a competitive fighting game such as like a Street Fighter or Tekken or Dead or Alive. I feel like the fun traditional arena fighter would work really well with this. You can also try and do this in the same formula as a 3v3 Marvel vs. Capcom. However, while the cast is diverse, I don't think they have too many techniques to where it would lend itself to be good for assist and stuff like that. I could be wrong, and that's something to really debate and argue with. So if you guys have some ideas of that, please leave them down in the comments below. I would like to hear that. I just feel like this game would really benefit from the freedom of movement of the Naruto fighters being able to like dash and jump and do certain attacks and combo strings and stuff like that. You can also do it in the 3v3 fashion of the Naruto Storm series, like have like 2 characters kind of switch out, and then you can kind of do like, Kagome's Sacred Arrow, or Inuyasha's Wind Scar, or Backlash Wave and stuff like that. So I do know the techniques. I think a lot of those techniques will really work well if you can like select them in the character select and have those as your assist within the arena fighter. However, I don't see that really working well with like a 2D plane. It's more suited for like a 3D atmosphere, right? As long as you have like enough stages, the characters, you can also do like costume DLC and stuff like that. And with I think it's Yashahime, and I apologize if I'm butchering the name of that. I haven't started watching it yet, but I do plan on it. With Yashahime being released and stuff like that, I think now is a time to kind of bring people into the Naruto fold that haven't seen, or I'm sorry, into the Inuyasha fold that haven't seen it yet, but have seen, Yashahime and like really curious. Oh, what's this Inuyasha all about? Well, you can throw out a fighting game, just make it, good. And I think that would make a really good arena, fighting game, at least in my eyes, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. And now for my final choice, and this is actually a more recent anime. I know the previous two were more older anime, but I think The God of High School would make a good traditional 2D fighter. Now, this is where the Street Fighter-esque, or maybe even Tekken if you want to go 3D, this is where those fighting engines would really cater to the God of High School. They're really based on martial arts. The techniques that they have aren't really too wild until you get later on into the series. However, it's not wild enough to where you would see this as a 3D 3v3 fighter or like a Marvel vs. Capcom 3v3 fighter. I think if you like really like hone in on the martial arts aspect of it, like the techniques and the movesets that they do display within the show, I think that a traditional 2D fighting game, Street Fighter aspect, or if you do want to still have that anime flavor, Guilty Gear would make a really good choice for the God of High School. Now, admittedly, I haven't finished the God of High School just yet. I did start it on the channel, however, with the whole copyright and stuff like that, it just wasn't worth risking the channel to continue watching the series on there. But I am going to pick that up and finish it out, so I think I'm on like the last 3 episodes. So forgive me if I'm missing something while I'm talking about this. But I feel like from what I have seen and what I've seen of other people watching it, yes, make this your Street Fighter fighting game, right? Give them solid techniques, special moves, your quarter circles, your charge characters, your stuff like that. Have guard breaks. If you want to get crazy with it, make it like CVS 2, right? Capcom versus SNK. Like, give it that really grounded 2D fighter aspect of it, right? Like that really focused fighting game, right? This is where you would have your competitive fighter. I think the God of High School would really, really benefit from that as a fighting game, as a video game. Now, again, like I mentioned before, you could argue this would make a good 3D fighting game. With the exception of Dead or Alive and some Tekken, I haven't really played too many 3D fighters. I did play Virtual Fighter for quite some time, so you could probably aim it towards that as well. But I think with some of the special effects and some of the special techniques, Street Fighter would really cater more towards that type of engine and type of fighting game for the God of High School. So those are my 3 animes that I think would make traditional good fighting games. As I said before, you can argue and mix these around, such as Yu Yu Hakusho being a 2D fighter, or of the God of High School being more along the lines of Tekken or something. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I really do enjoy reading the comments, and I really like opening up these discussions. I think it's a lot of fun, and it really does generate new ideas, and it may even get me to change my list or like change my opinion on something like that. Or if I didn't mention one of your animes I think deserve fighting games, list it down below and list what type of fighting game you think it should be. So I really do enjoy reading the comments. Hopefully you guys really engage in this. I really appreciate it. If you did like the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification on this channel as well as the other channel, as there will be content on both those channels more frequently. So I will catch you guys later. Take care.